In this video, I am going to go over question 2.2 of the Silver Quality Award. And for those who are going for 2.2D in the Silver Quality Award, and for those of you who are going for the Gold Quality Award, this question is the same. It's identical word for word in 2.2B. So 2.2D in the Silver, 2.2B in the Gold. We're going to go right through this question. And for those of you who do not know me or haven't seen me, how dare you? Where have you been? No. My name is Ralph Peterson, and I am a Quality Award consultant and examiner with the American Healthcare Association. And what I do is I break down the criteria for you, breaking it down to its smallest elements so you understand exactly what it is the examiners are looking for when you are answering these questions. A lot of these questions can be like hieroglyphs, very interesting, very challenging to work out. But this here is the actual question we're working on, 2.2D. And so let's break it down to make some sense out of it, because here's the thing. I guarantee, even though you might not know it, you do this. You are already doing this. I bet that's the truth with 80%, 70% of this application process. You already have the systems and processes in place. You probably just don't already know it. It's kind of one of the things. Okay, so first, just looking at the word how, and again, if this is your first time with me, you'll know that I always say, cross out the word how and write what process, because that's really what we want to know. We want to know your step-by-step process. What process do you use to recognize and respond? The second thing I want to point out is this word and. Every time you see the word and, you should know what it means, that there's multiple parts to the question. How do you recognize and how do you respond? I should tell you, just give you a little heads up here, that the number one reason why centers do not win a quality award at all three levels, the bronze, the silver, and the gold, the number one reason is because of what we call an incomplete application. And an incomplete application just simply means you either did not answer one part of the question, which is the most common, or you tried your best at answering it and weren't even close. But an incomplete application is the number one reason why so many centers do not win the award. So I create a workbook, and again, if you're new here, you're like, what workbook? I created a workbook where I broke down, so this is the full question, but I broke it up into two parts because of that and. That and told me, hey, there's two questions here, let's make sure we answer them both, so I broke them up in this little workbook. So again, how means what process, and now we're going to be talking about what process do you use to recognize. And we're talking about action plans. When circumstances require a shift in action plans. Okay, let me go to my little QAPI sheet here. This is my little QAPI worksheet here. And all this QAPI worksheet, I might be talking too fast. One of us have had too much coffee. There are some platforms like LinkedIn that doesn't let me do a video for longer than 15 minutes. And quite frankly, I need more than 15 minutes. So trying to talk fast, so you have to start listening fast. Here we go. If we're following this QAPI worksheet, we start with a result. And let's say that we're tracking and trending our clinical data, let's say falls data, and we realize that our falls data is indicating that it's going up. Well, the question that we would have to ask ourselves is that a good or a bad thing? Of course, we would know that it is a bad thing. So we would consider high number of falls to be a strategic challenge. And if we've identified a strategic challenge, obviously what we want to do is resolve it, right? Fix it. And so we're going to take this high number of falls and we're going to transform it into a strategic objective, and that strategic objective would be the opposite, of course, to lower falls. Now, the measure and the timeline in this instance that we're talking about doesn't really quite matter. I mean, it's a goal is always a measure, a number, a percentage, whatever. We'll say by the end of the third quarter, so 10% by the end of the third quarter, just to fill out the worksheet, but that's not important right now. If we identified that we have high number of falls and we want to lower falls, the first thing we're going to do is a root cause analysis. We're going to be like, all right, what is happening? When is it happening? Where is it happening? Who is involved in it happening? And let's say that you identify 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 different reasons, contributing reasons on why you have a high number of falls. And that is pretty common. It's common that there's more than one contributing factor, right? And so in this instance, let's say that one of the things that we identified is unassisted toileting, right? So they're going to the bathroom on their own. Well, after we identify 1, 2, 3, 4 things, we're going to brainstorm some possible solutions. And one of those possible solutions might be to assist, right? We have some residents who are trying to use the bathroom unassisted, and they clearly need assistance. And so in order to start providing assistance, we're going to start increasing the frequency of our toileting program, as an example. One thing just as a real quick, if you have four root causes, then you need 4 plans. If you have 2 root causes, you need 2 plans. If you have 8 root causes, you need 8 plans. You need a plan to address every single issue or root cause that you find. I know that goes without saying. But after you have come up with your root causes and you brainstorm some ideas, the next thing you do is you create a plan. Of course, in this instance, we call it an action plan, a plan that we're going to take action on. And for 99% of us in long-term care, we then follow a common problem-solving methodology called a PDSA. We come up with a plan, we do the plan, we study the results of the plan, and we make further decisions. We act on that plan. Well, let's get through this because, again, the question is, if we just go back, and I hope I didn't lose you already, how do you recognize when circumstances require a shift in action plans? How do you recognize? That's the question we're looking for. Recognize. Okay. So here's our action plan. Our action plan is to start assisting our residents by increasing our toileting program or the frequency of our toileting program. The next step is we do that plan, and then what do? We study the plan. We study the plan. Let me star this, highlight it, maybe change my pen color to red, red, red. Where are you? Here we go, red. We study the plan. And in that study, what are we doing? What does that mean? We are going to recognize. We're going to recognize. The study part of the PDSA is quite literally where we look at the results of those action plans. Is it working? Is it not working? That is where we recognize. Now, let's take it another step further. When circumstances require a shift, what does that mean? What circumstances? Let me show you. Let me tell you what circumstances. The circumstances say not working. Not working. Requires a shift. What does a shift mean? Different. Meaning, if we are following the PDSA, we've come up with a plan, we are doing the plan, and now we are studying the results of that plan. And what are we finding? We are finding that, hey, those action plans aren't working. We're still having the same amount of falls with the same residents at the same time. That's not working. And now, because it's not working, what do we have to do? We have to shift. We have to do something different. We have to do something different. So how do you recognize when circumstances require a shift in your action plans? It literally is your QAPI format, your PDSA format, how you solve a problem. This is literally what we're talking about. And it says, respond here. So how do you recognize? Now, how do you respond? Well, respond. Let me change the color of my pen again. Respond is the act part. That's this part. We develop a plan. So let me back up. We do a root cause analysis. We identify 2 or 3 things. We brainstorm solutions, 2 or 3 solutions, and we come up with plans. We do those plans. We study the results of those plans, and we find, hey, by the way, you know those plans that we put in place to reduce falls? Yeah? Oh, well, they're not working. They're not working. And then somebody else on the team is going to go, oh no, we should do something different. We have to do something different then. And now we have to respond. How do we respond? With our action part. That's the whole part of the PDSA. The A part is to take action. That is to rethink it, redo it, unless it solved the problem. And then the action might be just to make it a policy going forward. So this is how you recognize and respond when circumstances require a shift in action plans. This is what you're already doing. I'm sure of it, because this is QAPI 101. The one small caveat that I want to just point out here is that we are asking about the rapid execution. Rapid. So oftentimes when we are looking at issues and developing plans, they develop over time, and we give them a timeline, and we're pretty generous with the timeline. And, maybe we're meeting on a weekly basis or a monthly basis or a quarterly basis to make sure all our plans are coming together. Well, this question is, that's all well and good, but what if one of those action plans are failing very quickly and they require, here's this whole they require you to do something different immediately. Like, you're on the clock. Time is running out. People are falling, It's a really, really bad emergency thing. And so then just walk yourself through it. Like, what if something emergency was happening? Like, we had a plan in place and it's clear it's certainly not working. Do we wait until the next day, the next week, the next meeting, the next month? No, not likely. Likely, what are we going to do? Likely, we're going to call everybody who's involved and be like, yo, ad hoc QAPI meeting, get in the conference room. We're going to figure this out right now, right? Like, it's an immediate, all hands on deck, drop what you're doing. We've got to solve this problem. That's what the expectation is here when it talks about rapid execution. You're not waiting for another day. You're not waiting for another meeting. You're not waiting till a calendar's freed up. No. It is fast. We need to respond right away. This question is so vital. It is so important, and not just for the quality award. None of the questions in the quality award are just for the quality award. I got to tell you, everything in the quality award program, all the questions, all the criteria are really giving you solid hints as to how you should be operating if your desire is to be one of the absolute best operators in long-term care. That's it. I hope you found this helpful. And again, of course, my name is Ralph Peterson, and if I can ever help you with anything, you let me know. Thank you for watching, and if you got value from this video, please like, subscribe, follow, and share with your friends and colleagues. I would very much appreciate it. And of course, if you are interested in applying for a bronze, silver, or gold quality award through the American Healthcare Association, I would absolutely love to help you win.